So that's been like my whole month. It's just been reading and preparing for this campaign and playing with you guys. And D&D's overtaken my life.
Yeah.
Welcome, Comically Gaming, episode 116. This is covering August 2018. Gonna do our roundabout, our typical team fashion. I'll kick it off with. I've been reading this really good series, comic book from Vertigo Comics called 100 Bullets. I don't know if you guys are familiar with 100 Bullets. I've always seen it around and never gotten to it.
Same.
I know that it's been sort of critically acclaimed, and it won an Eisner, I believe, in 2002 and 2004. So I knew it was a heavy hitter. I checked it out, and I love it. I'm still reading it. It's pretty long. It ran from June 1999 to April 2009. So it's by Brian Azzarello is the writer, and Eduardo Rizzo is the artist. It's basically it's a crime. I mean, obviously, 100 Bullets. It's a crime series, but the reason I dig it so much is about, I guess, 5-6 issues in, the format changes and adapts to the plot itself. So
that's cool.
It starts out as sort of an episodic pulp series. So each story that you get is a standalone, and then by the 4th or 5th issue that you read, you realize that they are not standalone issues, and there's a connected plot that's weaving in and out of each issue. It's awesome. I mean,
it takes a while to kind of grasp what that is, though.
Yeah, well,
it's subtle,
the way
or
it is subtle in a way, but it's one of those reveals. It's like I'm not going to describe what happens, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh wow, it totally sucks you in. Like the second you find out about the connection between the characters, put it that way.
Nice.
It's the art, I'll say, is very unique to that book. Like, it's not something that I would typically. It's not like Magic Order where the art is insanely amazing, but it fits that sort of Pulp Fiction-y storyline. You know, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're into crime comics, which I've been digging with Kill or Be Killed and Criminal. This fits right in that genre. So if you like, Reservoir Dogs or any of the Tarantino stuff or any of the mafioso books or movies, I would totally check this out. And it's completed, so you just run through it, and you can begin it and finish it.
What kind of collections are there for it? Is it something I can go buy one book and get it all now?
Yes, I think there's 2 formats. There's the volumes, which splits it up into probably 6-7 issues a piece.
Right.
But I got the books, which is a lot. It's like 15 or 16 issues in a book, and that'll complete. I think there's 4 books total.
Okay. So it's like 50, 60 issues or something?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it, man. I think if you like those sort of alternative crime movies, it fits in that vein.
Yeah, we've had a few shows in the past where Corey kind of talked about like a top 10 list of comics that we hadn't really heard of, and 100 Bullets always was popping up in those kind of conversations.
Yeah, and I had tried to read it initially, and I thought it wasn't for me. When I read the first issue the first time, I was like, this is all right. I don't see what the big deal is, you know. But I pushed through, and like third issue, I was like, okay, this is rolling with something. But like 5 or 6 issues in, it grabs you.
Nice.
Put it that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's my contribution to the month.
Nice.
Jeff, what do you got? How's your summer? See you all over the internet going to outdoorsy Minnesota stuff.
I know, right? That's what we do in August.
School's out.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I did a little thing. I guess I finally graduated college.
Yeah.
And
You made it.
Bravo,
Nice
man.
work.
Bravo.
and then I went and took a vacation. I haven't taken a vacation in forever. And kicked it off. Went to the Minnesota State Fair day one. Usually it's pretty low key that day, but for some reason, because of the nice weather, everybody went to the fair. It seems like, and traffic was bad. It took me 4 hours to get to the fair.
Yeah, how far would it take you if there wasn't traffic?
If there wasn't traffic, it usually takes about 15 minutes.
Oh shit!
4 hours?
Yeah, well, it was. We spent 2.5 hours in a car in gridlock traffic on the main road that goes to the state fair.
Oh, hell
And
no.
I gave up on that. Tried to park and ride. Lots were full around the fairgrounds, so like a 1 mile radius. Drove back to a mall on the east side. The line was like down the parking lot, underneath the covered parking at the Lakewood Mall, and then I drove to another one that was at Fleet Farm, which is further out east, and it wasn't running because we have a bus driver shortage. And so we came home, went back at noon, got on the bus finally, and got there at 1 o'clock, and I left the house originally at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Jeez.
It was crazy, dude. I was like, what the
That
fuck?
is madness.
It was sheer
Is it
madness.
worth it?
Yeah, it's always worth it. Yep. That's one. I'm going 2 more times, so that was just like a dry run. Because
How many different fried items? How many variations of fried
too
items
many
did
to
you?
count. Because you can fry fruit, you can fry olives, you can fry Twinkies.
Bacon.
Olives.
Yeah,
Snickers.
bacon dipped in chocolate, just bacon.
Ay, ay, ay.
Deep fried cookie dough, where they freeze a cookie dough and then they bread it and deep fry
That sounds good.
it. It's fucking amazing.
Then you go over to the free milk stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to
You
town.
just all the milk is from the cows at the fair, so it's like it's fresh, like
Oh,
from cow to glass in 30 minutes. It's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I've been playing World of Warcraft ever since the expansion was launched. I've been playing shit out of that. I hit 120, and then I'm just doing the grind now, the dailies, and to get gear and check out the content. And also been playing Far Cry 5.
cool.
Nice.
Chilling. And then last night went and watched that movie Crazy Rich Asians. Yeah,
Oh, how was it? It
That
was good?
movie's awesome. It was a good movie.
Nice.
It's funny.
Can't believe you're watching rom-coms.
It was good, dude.
It's supposed to be really good, though.
It's an
I
international
mean, it's
film.
supposed to be like cross-platform good.
Well, you know,
I
it has
watched
to be
it
good.
last night.
It's still a rom-com, isn't it?
I mean, some rom-coms are good enough to just be good. I mean,
It's
I don't
killing
think
it
they
in the
are.
United
they
States market.
break out of the genre.
What? Give me an example of a rom-com that's like that I should check out if I hate rom-coms.
This
Knocked
is
Up.
40. This is 40 is good.
Knocked Up was good.
Knocked Up's good.
Yeah, this
Can't
is
watch
40
any of that
was funny
garbage.
as shit,
Kevin
dude.
Smith has a bunch of
I love
rom-coms.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
He's a rock
Right.
star. So yeah, I mean, I guess the graduating college was a big thing,
Yeah.
and walked across the Mississippi River, walked across at the headwaters. So yeah,
Nice.
it's been
All
a
right.
good month, and summer's over after Labor Day up here. That's how we treat it.
Yay.
It's like, after Labor Day, no summer.
Yeah.
Ready for the death of
Time for
summer.
the snow. Yeah.
Bring on winter. So
Yeah.
that's mine. I don't
All right.
know
Well,
how Nate's went, but
yeah. Speaking of walking across the Mississippi, I've been playing a whole bunch of Mafia 3 this past weekend.
It looked good, man.
Yeah, I almost had nothing to say for this segment because I've been so just busy not doing fun stuff. I was going to go with like D&D and how much I love D&D nowadays and everything. And then just last night I had a couple hours to kill and said, you know what, screw it. I'm playing some damn video games. And I popped that one in there. And 4 hours later, I was still going to town on it. So really, really like it a lot. Like, I know when it came out, it had mediocre reviews. And a lot of the complaints that I heard was that the mission structure gets to be the same. You're doing the same things throughout the game over and over again.
A lot of video games are like that, though.
Yeah, well, apparently this one's worse than some. That's what people were saying. But I can tell you, those first few hours, I do not see that at all. Like, to me, this game has some of the best acting, like, ever. The acting in it is like superb. They do a cool story where they do the Persona thing where they're going back and forth to like senators and lawyers discussing the events, and then you actually play through the events as they're going on. And when it meets each other, it's really cool. When that happens, it's a good experience. And also just like you're playing a black man in the totally racist South, and they do not pull any punches with the depiction of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean it's a little.
Racy?
I guess it's a no. I was gonna say it's a little softer than probably reality, but not much. Not much. It's still it's pretty. That's the sort of thing.
Bad here.
Yeah, if you grew up in the Midwest and have never spent real time in the South, this would be a little bit shocking to you. And I think, Dirk, if you played a little while, you'd see it's pretty it's pretty real. So just I give them kudos for doing that. There's a disclaimer at the beginning of it that kind of talks about how they feel that, depicting the racist events of the time is important to respect the people that live through them and things like that. You know what I mean? It's a well-written kind of paragraph about why they chose to make the decisions they made when making that game. But yeah, I'm shocked. Like, to me, the quality of the cutscenes is way better than anything in that Grand Theft Auto genre. Like, even Grand Theft Auto itself weaves a really big story, but the actual minute-to-minute what people are saying is usually pretty juvenile and stupid.
Yeah.
That's not the case in this game. Game is very mature and adult in a good way, not in a boobs and curse words way.
Is it similar to like LA Noire?
I never played LA Noire other than like an hour or so. I feel like it is from the little bit of LA Noire that I played, but I haven't played enough of both to say. But yeah, just want to throw it out there. It's the PlayStation Plus game of the month. So no reason not to buy it. I streamed it this week, had a great stream too. Lots of people stopped by. It was really fun streaming tonight. So good times. Thanks everybody who stopped by.
I'm rushed in that one.
Sure.
Yep.
Retired Saints gaming crew rolls up and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, right. As soon as I saw the first hashtag Retired Saint, I was like, uh-oh, here it comes. And sure enough, they came rolling through. But yeah, Corey, kick it over to you. What you do this month?
So I was gonna just talk about Tales from the Yawning Portal. I'm gonna DM. So I got a group of work friends and friends of work friends. I got either 4 or 5 people. So I'm gonna. I was just gonna talk about this, but I've been doing so much cool D&D stuff this month. I'm gonna just try and talk about all of it. So, anyways, that made me buy these.
DM's Guide.
What's that? Say it for the
DM's Guide and the Monster Manual. Now I'm overflowing in D&D books, and they got me hooked. I got these little fuckers.
Nice.
Got minis.
Yeah.
Nice.
Six of them. It's a 6-pack. It's like $15, and basically I'm just gonna get them for my party. There's so many. You can buy so many minis. Like, yeah, Jeff got a cool one there. You can buy the booster packs. Yeah, and I got the I got the grid with the dry erase markers. Got it.
Nice.
So I'm pumped. It's really cool reading the Tales from the Yawning Portals, 7 short adventures, classic D&D adventures that have all been revamped for 5e that you can play as side missions, or if you play them in order, you can play the entire thing as a campaign.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
And
Great.
yeah, it's all based in Waterdeep at this bar called the Yawning Portal. The bar is built around this mega dungeon that you don't even go into in the Yawning Portal. You just hang out in the bar, and you get quest hooks in the bar that bring you out to these adventures, and they're all classic adventures, and it's really cool. I'm thinking I'm actually gonna, by the time I get this going, and get through the first adventure, Waterdeep Dragon Heist is gonna be out, so I think I'm actually gonna switch to that, and then do the actual with the Mega Dungeon one, Waterdeep whatever comes out after Dragon Heist, and they should all fit together real well because they're all in Waterdeep, and like the Yawning Portal is actually in the bar that the second campaign book's based around. So it's and it's just cool. It's really cool reading the DM side of it and the descriptions and the stuff that that the players don't, and it's awesome. I'm really excited. I was kind of hesitant at first. I wanted to play in a local group, but I didn't know anybody that would DM, and eventually I just said, fuck it. Like, guess I'll just have to DM if I want to play with my friends, and then maybe one of them will want to DM next campaign, and then I can play in a local group.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
Dirt got all of us, right? You gotta feed that out to your group.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, totally awesome. And then I'm just reading these Drizzt books. I finished Homeland, and I finished Exile in like 2 days, and I'm halfway through Sojourn. And they're so awesome. They're so awesome. Like it's really cool. Especially, I mean, like the first whole book's just straight up in the Underdark asshole drows, and so that part of it, like, it's so dark. Like it's it's not Faerun, it's the Underdark. It sucks. The Underdark's not a good place to be in. So, and the whole book is there. But now that I'm into the third book, Driss is out doing his thing, kind of. Yeah, on the surface, and it's awesome. I mean, there was a part that's I said like real mild spoilers, but there's like a party in the third book, and it's the first time that you see like a party that you can relate to your own D&D party.
Sure.
Like, and it's just really cool. I'm loving reading those books. And then just D&D in general. Our normal campaigns are going awesome. Madoka's first fight was last week, and it was disaster, but I learned my lesson. But it's just everything, just super into D&D. It's even when you're reading the novels, it's not really D&D, but it still is. And so that's been like my whole month. It's just been reading and preparing for this campaign and playing with you guys, and D&D's overtaken my life.
It's the coolest.
But
It's
yeah,
the coolest.
It's the reason why, right?
That's why it's been going for 40 plus years.
Yeah. Yep, it's so awesome. So, but yeah, that's my month.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Breaking news of the month.
Breaking news of the century.
Okay, we interrupt your regularly scheduled Comically Gaming to bring you the next day. We got back together because something crazy happened today, and we needed to talk about it.
Yeah.
If you watch Comically Gaming,
to post reaction videos, but
correct. In this case, though, we're making an exception. we're super Witcher fans, super CD Projekt Red fans, and they dropped out of nowhere a stream today, which I don't know if you guys knew this. What they showed today is what they played behind closed doors at E3.
Yeah, that's what I read. That's what I read.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But finally, we all got to see it. So I don't know. Initial reactions. What do you guys think?
It was fucking amazing, dude. I was watching it, and at first I was like, "Oh, it's just gonna be another gameplay video of just a beta," and then started watching. I'm like, "Wow, this is fleshed out."
It's funny. It looks like a combination between like Fallout and, in a way, but Borderlands shooting, but story of an actual, like, it looks like a combination of all the awesome things, like with the choices of like a BioWare game, but like shooting of Borderlands and loot and you know, it just, and great awesome graphics with the open world. It looks amazing, and it looks nothing like The Witcher. Like, I can't at all even draw any comparisons to The Witcher, really, besides the fact that it's open world, but it looks fucking awesome.
I think the art style is different than The Witcher. I mean, completely different.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that the only comparison that I would draw to The Witcher is that kind of anything can happen feeling to those missions, right? Like that what they did in that mission in that demo, and how they decided to work with the corporate people, and how that changed what happened, and that. You know what I mean? That's like what the Witcher mission structure, like their structure.
Right.
They're not afraid to have you miss huge portions of the shit that they built for you to carve your own kind of narrative through the story, right?
Yeah, you could take a bounty and let the creature live, and it can destroy the town that hired you, or you can not, and and that's still there, obviously. Yep. But everything else just looks totally different.
Well, I mean, usually game developers. Usually game developers, though, this is a weird thing what I was getting at, is you can tell a Square Enix game. You can tell a Square Enix, you can tell. You can tell a BioWare game, just how it looks, and this didn't look at all like The Witcher, and if you didn't know it was CD Projekt Red, you'd be like, wow, who built this game? Because I've never seen something like this. Like Corey said, it combined a lot of different games, pieces of it, the mechanics, to make one big game.
The game that we've all wanted. An awesome first-person shooter, open world with loot and an awesome story. I mean, it's like the dream game. It seems like, it's hard to. And the thing is, it's CD Projekt Red, so you gotta imagine it's gonna be like.
It's funny, it's funny. Like, you're totally right. As cheesy as that sounds, you're totally right.
It's.
I mean, the whole immersion. I remember Nate. He was talking. When we were doing 116, so not that long ago, yesterday. And, from the screenshots, you were right. It didn't look... the screenshots look really pretty. And it gave you that sci-fi feel. But watching that, I started seeing... It reminded me a lot of some of the Blade Runner stuff you see in Blade Runner and 2049.
I agree.
But also... When they were walking out in that apartment, when you leave her apartment, I started thinking of that last Judge Dredd that they made.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That is exactly it, Jeff. I thought that for sure. Yeah, that building could have been the Mega City building that Dredd took place in. Yeah, I agree with you. It mixed in so many cool influences. I thought there were spots that were, like you say, totally Blade Runner. Yeah. If somebody on that crew didn't watch Dredd and take inspiration for her apartment, then I'll be amazed, right? Like, it just has to be the case, Yeah.
And
cool.
Red Faction with the destructive environments.
Yeah, it seemed like everything was destructible.
Yeah, it seemed like everything in that entire open world was... even when he shot the car that was up on the lift, it made it drop down, and you could shoot through the walls, and it seemed like everything that you shot was affected by it. It wasn't just... They weren't just reflecting bullets, and so...
Which is funny. When this was shown to everybody in E3, I never heard anybody talk about that. No, that was new to me. And that was cool. That was great. Yeah. I really liked
the big gun at the beginning when he's shooting everybody through the wall, and then the car dropping down and just standing behind post and watching them get exploded, and just you could tell the whole environment. If it's a material that can be destroyed, it'll get
or
destroyed.
manipulated in some way, right? Like
Yeah.
when he picks up the car and holds it as a shield in that final
That
fight.
was cool.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you could probably do that with anything. It's just the car was enough to actually, shield him.
Yeah.
Well, and
yeah.
she was hiding behind that pillar, and she was shooting, and she went behind the pillar, and you could see it just break up, kind of Matrix style.
Yep.
What I like is
Yeah.
how it reminded me of a little bit of Deus Ex,
Sure.
one of the original Deus Ex games, where you could go in front door or you could go explore and find alternate ways in, and then they showed you some of the cool shit at the end with the spider legs and shit. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, when she had the blades in her arms that would stick to the wall, and then she disabled the one dude's. So the way that she disabled that guy to where he couldn't communicate with his weapon anymore was pretty cool. I was wondering how they were going to work the whole Netrunner thing into it, especially after I bought the book for the RPG and was reading through that. Like, the Netrunner character was basically written before the internet as we know it, and so it's a little rough around the edges, right? And I had wondered how they would use that in this game, but it seemed cool, and it also seemed like, I can tell you, you know how it broke out like the dude's mind into data blocks, right? That's what happens in the RPG. Is you actually do puzzles with blocks to navigate the net if you're a Netrunner.
That's cool.
And there's other people they're like dungeons, right? There's other people that are in there with you who could try and fuck you up while you're doing it and stuff.
Wow.
So really cool. I'm really stoked to see how far they take that,
Well, I hope they make the UI, the whole your HUD was really minimal in that game, where it just pop up, and then just the amount of implants that you could get and specialize.
So
and the way you brought up, Jeff, the slowing down of time, we didn't really talk about that. Like, that
bullet
was
time, kind of
bullet time. Yeah, it's like a combination of all the cool shit, man. Like, it's put into.
Well, and I really like how both of those things that you guys just talked about, how they build it in. So, like, the HUD, when she upgraded her arm and gave it, like, gun grip, that's when she could see her ammo clip.
Yeah.
Like, previous to that, she was just firing the whole time.
And that's the most badass pistol I've ever seen.
Yeah, right? Right? But, it's just cool that they take those video gamey things, like the slow motion, which, like, you think about that in Max Payne, they never even explain that. It's just that, Max Payne can go into slow motion, right?
Yeah.
In this game, it's like, that's the drugs that she's taken, right?
Yeah.
And in this, all the cybernetic stuff is the reason that the HUD looks the way it does. That's the way things look to her. So it's I really like, it makes it more immersive, right? Like, all that stuff is built into it, everything that you see.
Right.
Well,
you could tell they took their time.
Sure.
And I think they took some stuff from RoboCop in that movie, or in that game. When they go into the maelstrom and they have that guy in the chair and then they sit down, it kind of reminded me of seeing out of RoboCop.
Them negotiating
with drugs and negotiating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm really blown away. So I do have to say, like, okay, as we've been talking, like, my kind of gripe about Cyberpunk in general, like, I'm more of a high fantasy dude, so The Witcher appeals more to me on the base level than a kind of background and history like Cyberpunk. And I still think, to some degree, even after watching that video, like, I'm more stoked for the setting of Red Dead, right? Or I'm more stoked for, like, the setting of Fallout than I am for that Cyberpunk feel. Okay. But I just feel like it was, after watching this video, I don't care about that anymore, because obviously that city is so well made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all the other gameplay stuff that they do will come in, The only other thing that I think that I really wanted to talk about that we didn't was the driving. Driving looked
really
good
yeah.
as well.
It looked clean. It looked
like GTA.
It did.
You think?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I
think the car looked... I wasn't controlling it, but it seemed like it wasn't that shitty car game in an action RPG where they just sort of threw driving. Kind of like driving a Warthog on Halo, which really sucks.
Sure.
Yeah. GTA driving's not bad.
No,
Once
it's
you
not
get it down, you can cruise around the city pretty fast. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It looked good, but it just it didn't look like you were in Forza Horizon when you were driving the car,
They're
which
not
would have
good
been
for
the
that.
other thing that they could have added to,
Yeah,
like,
right. I'm with you.
but-
The what is bad in GTA though is the shooting, right? And this seems like the best combat in a GTA type open world game that I've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
If they pull that off.
Well, because it
Sure.
looked like they're using Borderlands, which had a better shooting.
Yeah, looked like
Mechanic.
Borderlands shooting. That's
Yeah.
exactly
It
what I saw.
didn't look like she had the auto lock where you just R1 or L2 and
that gun at the end, that heat-seeking
the
machine gun.
Oh yeah, the smart gun.
Oh, dude, that's so dope. That's so
Yeah, and then
dope.
when she
You
was
can
doing those
ricochet?
moves where he was shooting the laser over her head that she was sliding under, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
getting him in the back and the weak spot of that suit and stuff, like
That was sick.
it just looked great. Yeah,
That's like-
really cool.
Well, and I like the ricochet where you could bounce bullets off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, it was awesome. That actually looked like it fixed Ricochet. Like I hate Ricochet bullets in any other game because you have no idea where they're going.
Yeah, it's just
right?
a...
With,
yeah,
right. With this, like she's actually lining it up like playing pool or something.
Right.
Yeah. So
You know?
I'm excited to play this game. It's like now I'm like, okay, when's the release date? And there's no release date.
Oh.
Yep.
So it's like,
Alright,
I
it'll
bet. I
it'll
bet
be
it's
2 years from now.
Christmas. At least Christmas of next year.
yeah, Christmas 19. Probably November 19.
That's my guess.
I'm guessing March 20. So I feel like this game and Last of Us 2 are going to be like the last great season for the PS4.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it'll be PS5 the year after those two games come out. I bet you any other games of like this scale will not be for this console generation. That's my guess, anyways. It might be like March 20, and then like that 20 holiday season is the PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will
Xbox,
be the
whatever.
culmination of PS4. The
Yeah.
games that developers have spent 8 years or whatever making.
Right.
They're going to be the final games that come out and
Yeah.
and be
And they'll both be fucking awesome.
amazing.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining me for this special report, fellas.
No problem. That was
Wow.
awesome.
Now returning to your regularly scheduled Comically Gaming. Okay, everybody, we wanted to spend a little bit of time discussing this year's Gamescom. It's Europe's biggest show every year, right? And so all kinds of new news came out. I made a list. It was like 100 things. So we're not going deep. We're not covering everything that happened at Gamescom, but we all found a couple things that we did want to talk about a little bit. Kick it off with the Cyberpunk, right? We got to have our weekly CD Projekt Red discussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of these the screenshots, the info that came out?
Screenshots always look good. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked that kind of real cool looking high fantasy, futuristic kind of grittier side with getting tattoos and the cybernetics and stuff like that.
It reminds me of Repo Man a little bit.
A little
Yeah.
Rainbow Man, a little bit of what am I looking for? A little bit of Blade Runner, really, is what I was thinking when I looked at those.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot brighter than Blade Runner, but still
Yeah.
obviously it's there. But yeah, I think it looks awesome. It's definitely grown on me. I did like at first I was just the fact that you can create your own character is such a big departure from The Witcher. So I was kind of hesitant, but the more I see of it, the more hyped I am. I know it's going to be great.
Yeah, people are obsessed with it. I mean, they keep posting, like, you get a crumb of news and it gets
Right.
blasted out.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. I gotta say, I honestly don't like the looks of it. I trust that it's gonna be the greatest thing ever when it comes out, just because I trust CD Projekt Red. But I don't like, it's too bright and colorful and stuff for me for that world. I don't know. It's got a real weird, the same way that the game kind of hit me wrong. The style of the graphics just aren't doing it for me.
See, I like the color in that we haven't seen that a whole lot with futuristic settings.
Right.
You know, they
Yeah.
tend to run the Blade Runner route, or they run,
Or the
it's
Fallout
raining all the
route.
time. It's, shadowy, whatever. So to see a Fifth Element like direction is kind of at least, depends how well they do it. I'm sure they'll do it well.
Right,
but
me too.
at least a step, in a different direction.
Gotcha. Okay, well, moving along, I know we could talk Cyberpunk for an entire show if we wanted to, but the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, right? So this is from the makers of Bloodborne and the Souls
shit
games.
looks hard as fuck.
Yeah.
I realized once he started fighting that final boss, I was like, oh, this game looks really hard, actually. At first, I thought it looked like Assassin's Creed when he's jumping in, assassinating people and stuff, but then once he started fighting that guy, I was like, oh, this... Yeah. I didn't even realize it was by the makers of Dark Souls, but as soon as I saw that fight, I was like, oh, shit, yeah, this is
one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're stepping away from... If they're going to keep making games that are like that, this looks like it's an evolution, and to pick a totally different background and setting for it it's cool that they don't just forever go Dark Souls, right?
Yeah. My only concern is that it's going up against Ghost of Tsushima. Sort of, I know that it's not completely the same.
They're
but
both samurai, Asian fighting.
Yeah, it's weird to have those games in the market at the same time. When is Tsushima dropping?
I don't think they've put a date on that yet, but yeah, if their hype train's going on at the same time, I hear you. They're very, very similar looking. I think for me, Tsushima wins it out a little bit.
Yes.
I like the kind of more grounded approach that seems to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure, that'll be good. Destiny, with some more Destiny news. We haven't talked Destiny in a while. Do we even care about Destiny at all anymore?
I don't. I'm sort of over it.
I do watching that mode. When I was watching that Gambit mode, I was like, well, that would be fun if we could get a group together. It's
Gambit,
I'm just watching it. It looked cool. You're trying to... So it looks like you're trying to defeat more enemies quicker than the other team, but then one person can jump back and forth and try and kill their team.
Correct.
That looks like a fun mode. I would play it if we bought it, for sure.
Yeah, when you beat the enemies, you got to take their souls or whatever back to this thing, and the other team can stop you when you're doing that also. So it's like PvP and PvE at the same time. So that looks kind of fun. I still think we should buy it and just play through the missions and play a couple weekends of Crucible and move on with our lives. That's what I feel like. All right, so Supermassive Games announces that it's weird. So we all loved Until Dawn to death, right? And then they made a couple games, one for VR and another one that were just kind of not well received, kind of hanging in limbo. And then they've come out and said, nope, we're going to lean in heavy on the Until Dawn shit. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the Dark Pictures anthology. Yeah. They're not even saying it's a trilogy. They're just acting like it's going to be a bunch of movies or a bunch of horror games. So that's good news as far as I'm concerned, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It looks weird. They're on a ship, and then they go down to dive to another ship, and then it haunts them or something. Like, is it all based in the water?
Let me ask y'all this: do you want to see updated gameplay and new functions thrown in, or do you just care that formula stays intact with a different story?
I mean, I would tell you that the reason why I like Until Dawn more than the Telltale games at this point is because there's a little bit more gameplay to it, right? I actually feel like I'm controlling a character around those environments instead of just making choices at certain points. You know what I mean? And so I would be okay if they leaned a little bit more into that. Mm-hmm. I guess to answer your full question, I would be happy if they went full on Uncharted or something also, Yeah. With that type of storytelling, I'd be into it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, totally. I just haven't seen a game ever do that. Have those kind of choices that affect the game so deeply and be is full on Uncharted. That would be awesome.
That would be
totally. That would be
tall bill of sales.
Yeah.
No, I do like that over Telltale because you do have more control and you do have the quick time events in there, but the way they incorporate the storytelling into the entire game is just another
It's the most
level.
like a movie I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
It's
Yeah.
great to play Until Dawn on Halloween night, too.
Oh,
Nice.
that's a great idea. Might do that.
All right, so the next thing I got on the list here is Inky Pen. I just wanted to not spend too much time on this, but I was doing some reading up on it. So Switch exclusive comic app. It's not on anything else. The one thing that they're saying is for $7.99 a month, you get all 10,000 comics
Wow.
that they have. It's not like a piecemeal thing or with stuff rotating in and out. You just get access to the whole library.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, weird that it's only on Switch.
It's
Yeah.
like a tablet, right?
Yeah.
On the Switch tablet, though, but
Yeah.
why not put it out on Google and iPad also?
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, out of the consoles, it's the only one to have
It is.
a tablet
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
to use that.
It's also
So-
the only console with a comic book reader that I know of.
Right.
Yeah, right. I think that's why I like it. But no, I mean, if they're trying to battle against Comixology, I don't know how they win that fight, unless that it's on a console.
Right. Well, in everything, I guess, is my thing. Like, I just wish I could access. It would be a slam dunk. It seemed like if you could just get it on everything, and it was on Switch too.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, anyways, but we were talking. Corey was saying that there wasn't a lot of books that he was interested in. That when they showed the brief thing that they showed was what it was the IDW that Inkle or everybody always talks about this one comic that I forget. Inkin or Inkle or
I don't know.
not ring a bell? No, I'll have to.
Yeah, I just didn't see Marvel, DC, or Image, and
they're not there.
I'm not going to pay a monthly fee and not get those books.
Well, the contrast to that is that there are like when I get there's a lot of digital stuff that I get because I can't find it anywhere else.
Sure.
right.
Put it that way. So
Right.
maybe they're trying to feed that. I don't know.
Yeah. Totally. Yep. All right. So moving along, Halo Master Chief Collection comes to the Game Pass. Shocked it's not there yet. I don't know if you guys played that. That's Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's all of those games, and the multiplayer also. So I know
I definitely want to play that with you guys.
yeah, totally. Destiny won't do Capture the Flag, so we can go play Capture the Flag with this guy now.
Halo's better than Destiny 2. It just is. But,
Just is. I threw up there. I was the only one who checked this one, but Shenmue 3 got a release date finally.
People love that game.
what kind of game is it even? That was
It's
I didn't even know what it was when I watched the trailer.
I thought it was a JRPG to an extent, right?
When Shenmue
Somewhat.
came out on the Dreamcast, it was like kind of like the evolution of Grand Theft Auto, and it was one of the only games doing that, and it had a lot of like weird like, hey, I can go like play pachinko for 3 hours and stuff. So people were really kind of enamored by that, but it wasn't a good game, I didn't think, when I played
But
it.
it's weird. There's a fan base there for that
There's
game.
a huge fan base, yeah.
I know
Yeah.
people that are really crazy, like head over heels about that fucking game. I don't know why.
But it doesn't do anything for any of us, is that...
I just didn't get what it was. Like it looked like just the fact that it's Japanese makes me intrigued. But then I just beyond that, I really didn't even know what the hell it was. It was like people talking to each other.
Yep,
And
that's
it's
kind of
like,
what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, that might be for you, Corey.
maybe.
It's true. It's true.
might be.
It is Slice of Life.
I need to
the
see
game.
more of it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, next one on the
I
list we got
like
is
the game that actually now.
Now you're
that's a
psyched, huh?
must buy.
nice. Biomutants, the next one here.
Yeah.
Nate, you said you didn't like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
why did you not care about it?
how did you not
It's
like that?
Awesome.
I
It
just
does
think
look awesome.
that character looks cheesy to me.
But it looks
Wow.
like the cat from Monster Hunter World. I mean, almost like a dead
That
ranger.
cheesy?
He looks cheesy to me.
You can-
I'll let you guys talk about how much you like it.
You can that's your complaint about it. It looks awesome though. The big monsters that they're fighting, and like when he gets in that bubble, like Sonic, like it's like a
the battle
Katamari
system
Damacy.
awesome.
Like you can roll enemies and stuff, and just the battle.
And the freeze frame in the fight. And
I thought it just all looked really cool.
dude, I'm a sucker for like animals as people sort of fighting. So I don't know. I mean, it did not seem that dissimilar to Monster Hunter World to me, the way it looked visually, at least. To me, it looked like it could have been the same universe.
Right.
But
yeah, it looked like a cross between like Monster Hunter World and Ratchet and Clank, I don't just the bright colors and stuff, and kind of cartoony character, but battling big monsters and stuff. I thought it looked sweet. I'll probably buy that.
Cool.
yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Cool. Next we got Grease or Gris. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. Did you guys watch that?
Yeah, I thought it was gorgeous, but this could be a catch-22.
I'd say it looks boring.
It could either be Celeste or it could be Journey, which
exactly.
is
It's totally
very
Journey,
different
dude. It's totally
it looks like
Journey.
Yeah. The art looks incredible though.
Yeah,
It is.
The art doesn't it? Yeah.
beautiful. But if it's not, they said it's not a combat game, but it's a puzzle game. So that worries me.
It makes me think
it's
of
not-
Journey.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like non-combat. I mean, I think of Portal or something, but it has to be enough to keep me there. It can't just be floaty, art.
Yeah.
Because Celeste is almost non-combat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But this doesn't look like Celeste.
I will say also before people tear us apart that we are the outliers for Journey. Most people like Journey.
Really? I didn't give it even a thought.
Look, I have art brain
No.
too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think that way all the time, and I still hated that game.
Right.
So.
All right.
You
So
just run through a desert.
couple expansions
5 hours.
announced for the Xbox games that we've been playing lately. The State of Decay and Sea of Thieves. Both of those look pretty cool, so I just figured worth mentioning. They both come out like within a week of each other too,
Yeah, I see
which
that.
is pretty crazy. The State of Decay is like a siege mode where you end up in a base and it's not your own base, it's like some other cruise or whatever, but you're taking on waves of zombies. And Sea of Thieves, they drop a volcanic island in the map.
That's crazy.
That yeah, apparently it erupts and then it'll hit your ship and stuff with debris, and then like when you get close to the island to go for treasure, you have to take rowboats. You can't swim in the water there or you'll cook.
Wow.
Do you have
that's-
to pay
Yeah.
for expansions on games that are on Game Pass?
What's that?
Would we have to buy the expansion if it's a Game Pass game?
I don't.
Yeah,
think
if you wanna-
So
It's up to them. It's game to game. I think State
Yeah.
of Decays you pay for, and Sea of Thieves they gave away for free.
yeah, Sea of Thieves was free because
Yeah.
their cursed seas was free. That expansion was free,
Right. Yeah.
and y'all missed the gigantic shark that was swimming by the damn boat that one time. Scared the
Wow.
poop out of me.
All right, and I'll let Corey close it out. He had a couple that none of us, the rest of us, didn't care about.
Life is Strange
Alright.
too.
Life is Strange 2. It looks like it could be good, but I'm just pissed that it's not Max and Chloe anymore. Like,
Yeah.
don't care
Definitely.
about two dudes. Like,
Sorry.
Some people do.
some people do, but who really does? Like, who wants to play with like a big brother and his little brother? It's just, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll even buy it. Like, I kind of want to because I really liked Life is Strange
I
so
think so.
much. But,
you're a Life is Strange super fan.
but I loved it. But
Man.
being, I don't know. I don't know about dudes, man. So, and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider looks awesome.
Yeah, I didn't see that on the list, but
It looks really fucking
I'm
awesome.
excited
Yeah.
for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. If they keep with the recent style of the Tomb Raiders rise, and
Yeah.
it's
looks
going to
like
be
they are.
awesome.
Dude, Jeff, you should see it. It looks like they turned it up a couple notches.
I've
You gotta-
seen
yeah,
bits
you
and
gotta watch the
pieces of it.
trailer.
Oh, I'll watch it again.
Yeah,
I've been
it's
trying
pretty
not
incredible.
to watch trailers, so it doesn't
Yeah.
get me excited. because it's coming out soon. Isn't Shadow going to be September?
Yeah, I think it
believe
is.
so.
Yeah.
Like right after Spider-Man, which is in a
Oh.
week.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Which is
Spider-Man
in a
drops
week.
in a week.
That's the big one.
Spider-Man's in a week?
Yeah, day after Labor Day.
So I
Yeah.
start playing video games again.
Yeah.
Why didn't it be after Labor Day?
I know. It would be nice to have it for
Tuesday.
that weekend. I
Yeah.
know. They put out games on Friday if they want to. Like, they should have. I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our coverage of Gamescom 2018.
Right.
Breaking
Fun.
it down. Comically gaming style.
Bam, bam. So this week for this topic for our GCA and I almost said GCA and DC. our GCNC
No.
tabletop RPG.
GC and TTRPG.
That's
Yeah.
way too many fucking letters to read off. But as it is, every month we pick up a topic, pretty easy topic starting out with. So it's like a D&D 101. And this month I'm covering spellcasting because actually spellcasting is really misinterpreted a lot of times.
I got questions. But go
There's
ahead.
a lot of questions. I mean, basically, the first thing is the spell is just the ability for a PC to harness the natural magics within the D&D realm, and
Yeah.
through training or through meditation, they learn how to harness it and form it in the shape of a spell.
Or wild magic.
Or wild magic, and different classes use magic different ways. The components of a spell are of three things: either verbal, somatic, and material. And they usually will designate in the spell if it requires verbal, somatic, or material, or all three. And the materials are the key component that a lot of times gets overlooked. A lot of times in a lot of games.
Oh, we don't play with it. Essentially, I mean, I don't check with people unless it's a crazy.
Unless it's crazy, like for
Darwin just always says, "Oh, it's in my pouch."
Yeah.
and that's fine.
Everybody.
Like, if you get to a point though, because you get higher level spells, like a seventh, I think it's seventh level, is a raise dead spell, or a resurrection spell, and that requires a diamond that's at least 500 gold. At that point, the DM's going to say, "Hey, you need this." And
Right.
I mean, granted, if you're casting,
You didn't just scrounge that up.
if you're casting a 7th level spell, that means you're probably around 14th level, because the way that the spell slots you get aren't
Right.
in line with your level. So we're sitting at level 6 right now, and I know my cleric can only cast two
I can do
level 3
level.
spells, or 3 level 3 spells.
Same, yeah. 3 level 3 spells for my sorcerer.
It's not, but a lot of the times people don't understand the basics of spell casting. So your spell will call out and say, "Hey, okay, it takes 1 action." So that's 1 round, 6 seconds to cast the spell. And that's any of the spells that you have available to you for your level. But then there are spells that will say 1 bonus action, which means that you really can only cast those spells by using a bonus action if you haven't already used a bonus action during your round. So everybody, for the most part, has cantrips, which are basically, it's like tying your shoes.
Right.
It's so easy you don't even think about it. Regular prepared spells, depending on your class, those are spells you always have prepared between rests that are right to mind, and the slots just say, your spell slots say that, okay, at 6th level I can cast 3 level 3 spells, 3 level 2 spells, and 4 level 1 spells. But you can take a level 1 spell and cast at a higher level. It's going to tell you how much more damage or hit dice to add to that spell. If you cast, say, Cure Wounds at 3rd level, you add 2d6 to your heal, which is pretty awesome. What?
I have a question. So, can you explain the
Who's
difference
the fan?
between spell slots and like memorize spells? Is that sort of like what? Explain the language there.
A spell slot shows you at, say, level 6. I'll use level 6 because I have that right in my mind. So at level 6, generally you have 4 level 1 spell slots. So if you have level 1 spells prepared, which you should, you can cast those in a level 1 spell slot. But because it's a level 1 spell, it does have the ability to be cast at a higher spell slot.
And you get to pick any one of the level 1 spells in the book?
No, it depends on your class. So, take a cleric. A cleric knows all their level 1 spells because they get their focus and their magic from their divinity, from their god, right? So they know all these spells, but because they're, if you're sitting at level 1, you only can handle so many spells ready in your head. So that's where the spell slots come in, that you can prepare. It is the amount of spells at your level plus your wisdom modifier or a class modifier for casting. So level 1 priest with a +2 can have 3 prepared spells, but they may only have 1 or 2 spell slots available at level 1. Usually it's 1.
Gotcha.
So they can only cast one of those. What?
So you just talked there something that's kind of interesting to me about the how most spellcasters are getting their power from a god.
For clerics. Clerics
for clerics, right? So what would be other sources of magic in
other sources
D&D
of magic take
besides gods?
A sorcerer generally gets their spell casting ability or focus from a traumatic experience within their life. Sorcerers have a different. They do it differently. They don't have per se spell slots, but they have sorcerer points that they can use like a spell slot.
Well, we have spell slots, but you can buy back spell slots with your sorcerer points.
And like I said,
it's not book based, right?
I haven't studied. Well, yeah, that's the thing is the sorcerer only can cast spells that he knows.
Yeah.
Right. And he doesn't know all the spells.
Right. I can't pick a different...
Nope.
I can't pick different spells on every rest. I only know the spells I know.
Yeah.
But my question is, if a cleric gets his power from a god, where is your power coming from?
Mine's either wild magic.
Yeah.
For a sorcerer, it's wild magic or draconic bloodline.
Bloodline. There's like 3 different ways I think to get it. With sorcerer.
Yeah, mine's wild magic, which is what Jeff was talking about, which is something crazy happens to you where you just get
imbued.
Boom. Magic.
It's because you're still practicing. You're still practicing, and you don't fully understand it. So because the focus for any spellcaster is either for a sorcerer, it's a traumatic experience. For a cleric, it's their deity. That's their focus. That's why clerics have some symbol of their deity on them, and that's what they use to focus their magic through.
Warlock.
Warlocks are different too. I read a little bit about warlocks. I haven't gotten. They have a crazy kind of.
They're in service to a greater.
Deity.
To a greater power.
Yeah. So Jeff, I'm the mechanics guy too. Talk a little bit about spell save DC. We seem to run up against that over and over again in our games.
I'm getting there. So
okay, cool.
I was getting the basics for, spellcasting because besides bonus action reactions, some spells call for a reaction, like Warding Flare from a cleric is a reaction. Longer casting times. Concentration. If it says it takes, you have to concentrate on that spell after you cast it, you can still cast another spell while you're concentrating, but you have to concentrate for the next so many rounds it takes for that casting time. And if you take damage, you have to pass a Constitution saving throw in order to see if you maintain concentrating on a spell. And then there's ritual spells. Ritual spells are basically the same thing as concentration, but if you take damage and fail your saving throw, you have to start the ritual over, and you don't expel that spell slot until you actually cast the spell. As for some spells ask for a saving throw based on their spell save DC, and the spell save DC is so confusing for a lot of people because they don't really read it, and it's talked about everywhere. If you start looking for spell save DC in the books, it's there. It's just it talks about it's a base. The base is 8, and then it's plus your proficiency bonus, and then it's plus your mod for the stat that is required to have for that class.
Every class has a different one, right?
So a cleric is going to have a base of 8. Wisdom is their mod. So if you have 17 wisdom, that's a plus 3. So 8 plus 3 is 11. And then your proficiency bonus, if it's plus 3, then it's going to be 14. Spell attack is just your stat mod. So for a cleric, again, wisdom is plus 3. Wisdom at 17 is plus 3, plus proficiency bonus of, if you have a 3, then it's going to be 6.
Yep.
So
if you're Jan.
And I'm going off a 6th level cleric because she's awesome.
Yeah.
If you take like a warlock, then the warlock's going to be charisma is their spellcasting ability.
All right.
So it'd be their.
Yeah.
That's used like as in like a range spell, like to hit, right? Is generally when you use that,
Right.
Yep. So
Right.
your mod plus your proficiency bonus is your spell attack.
Whereas the spell save DC is like if your spell has an effect on a monster that they're saving against, then they're saving against that.
If the spell
doesn't specify,
call out a specific saving throw, then they have to roll against the caster's spell save DC. And vice versa for the caster.
Beautiful system.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of math. The other thing is the effect, the area of effect of a spell. It tells you if it's conical. I think the biggest thing we always run into at first was it says for like flaming sphere, it creates a spherical object, and the center it affects from the point of origin wherever you cast it within range. So if you can cast it within 60 feet, so if you cast it at 60 feet, the point of origin is that point at 60 feet, but then it has an area of effect of a 30-foot radius.
Right.
So, yeah, it's 30 feet radius, so it's 30 feet from that point of origin, it's 30 feet out, but it's spherical, so you're looking at a circumference of 60.
Yeah, it's like my fireball. I can't always cast a fireball on an enemy because it's a 30 feet circle, and it'll blast half the team half the time. So sometimes I have to shoot it at the wall, or and sometimes I just can't use it at all. Because of that.
Yeah, and
Merla had no problem doing that.
Yeah, you have to watch out for simple mistake at level 1 is not knowing like a cone of damage. Like
whatever.
That was like 2 years ago. We still talk about that.
I know he still gets shit for it.
And another thing that a lot of people don't really look at is you could actually combine magical effects. Spellcasters can combine their magical effects as long as you're not casting the same spell. They will be more potent, because if you say like I cast Burning Hands and then Aramel casts magic missiles, you would have the conical flame with missiles going into the fire.
Yeah,
but
that's hot shit.
But if we try to cast two things, like if me and a ranger or me and a druid that cast 8 on somebody, which boosts your AC by 2, I think
stack.
It does not stack. It's always the first one, so you can't get a bonus. You can't get a bonus roll and a bonus roll.
Right.
So you can't do that. Let's see. It's more. You just got to read your spells, know what your spells can do, know your line of sights.
Question.
42.
What about spells gained? Or capacity for spells gained from a short rest? Do you regain anything, or do you have to do a long rest to regain your spells?
You have to do a long rest to regain spell slots, unless it's part of a class specific thing.
And they mention it in the spell.
Then it changes.
Yeah.
You know, I use clerics a lot. I can use a paladin. A paladin has the ability for lay on hands, which you can either heal somebody or you can cure disease, expending 5. And in order to regain points from that, it requires a long rest. And the other one is the Sacred Oath. Here's the thing is, so a paladin takes a Sacred Oath, and they obtain Channel Divinity options. You can use those, and in order to regain them, you only have to do a short rest.
Cool.
So it does tell you whether it's a long rest. If it's a short rest, it will tell you.
Right. Gotcha.
Sweet.
That's awesome. Question that you might not even know the answer to. Is there a limit to how many short rests you can take in a day? Like,
there should be.
I have a warlock that's going to be in my party when I'm DMing this next campaign, and warlocks only have like 1 or 2 spell slots, but they regain them from a short rest.
Yeah.
And
there should be.
I figured like once everybody uses up all their hit dice, then you can't take a short rest or anything like that, but. Otherwise, it would just after every battle, he's just going to be like, "Okay, I short rest."
Yeah, but short. I think I can't remember. I haven't read on resting in a while, but I thought, short rest. I think the minimum is an hour, because that's how much time you can regain one hit dice is 1 hour. But generally, you think short rest, you think 4 hours. So I think that's more of a DM's discretion how you want to play it.
I would say as a DM, if he was trying to do that all the time, I would throw some monsters at him during the rest, right? And have the monsters gain surprise for it. You know what I mean? Like make it riskier than, depending on the situation, you know?
Like sleeping in the Amber Temple.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The last thing I want to talk about is just, it's something that you don't always really think about. Is every spellcaster you look at and you're like, oh, I'm level 1, I have 2 spell slots. So my round I cast a spell, okay, and then I move, and then my next round comes around, oh, I cast another spell and I'm done. I can't do that. Now I got to rely on cantrips. No. If your cantrips, because the nature of a cantrip is so fast, you can cast that really nice level 1 spell. You can cast Magic Missile. And then, as a bonus action, use a cantrip. It basically gives you 2 attacks
in the same turn.
Super awesome.
Yeah.
And I forget that all the time for some reason.
Yeah,
and it really, and you can also do the bonus action with a cantrip if you do a melee attack. So if I use Rogar, my Dragonborn Paladin, he can sit there and cleave the shit out of an orc, and then spit on him, and then turn around and cast one of those cantrips. He doesn't have any cantrips right now, but he can cast a bonus action cantrip on another orc and, piss him off.
Right. Now, does a cantrip have to say that it can be cast as a bonus action, or can every cantrip be cast as a bonus action?
Most cantrips, you look at the description, they say bonus action. That's what their casting time is.
I think it specifies it.
It does.
So if it doesn't say that, then you can't use that.
Yeah, but usually those spells you're not going to cast anyways, unless...
Yeah, the ones that aren't bonus actions are like...
one I can think of off the top of my head is Spare the Dying. Because Spare the Dying requires you to touch that object.
Yeah,
and
that's an action.
I can. I don't know what the spell card.
Cool.
All right.
I think that
was awesome.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jeff.
Spare the Dying is one action. That's the casting time for Spare the Dying because
Yeah.
I have spell cards right here because I'm a huge dork when it comes to casting stuff.
Yeah,
Because,
buddy.
well, like, I have Firebolt for a cantrip. One final thing. I have Firebolt as a cantrip, but it says casting time 1 action. So I couldn't use that as a bonus
Correct.
action then. Okay.
Correct, you could not.
Okay.
Correct.
Cool. Thanks,
But-
Jeff. That was
But
awesome.
also, I mean, you do got to go back and look at the semantics because I am getting into this. The very nature of a cantrip itself is something that you do without thought. A cantrip is something you've practiced so much. Casting spells on brooms to move and buckets of water and mops and shit like Sorcerer Apprentice. It's just something you do it so you can because it's instantaneous.
Let's just change our show to all D&D.
I know.
Right?
So with that, I will conclude this session of the GC and TTRPG
Yeah.
section.
There you go. Nailed
Specialty
it.
on spellcasting.
All right, we want to pause for a minute to thank our buddies over at Mutiny Info Cafe. They gave us a nice little shout out this week on Facebook. I don't know if you guys saw that. They linked our Hulk video. So that's pretty cool. They got a great selection over there. Used books, records, coffee. They got comics. They got Gundams. They got, what else they got? Pinball.
Manga.
Record.
Manga.
Records?
Vinyl.
Records. I think I said records. But anyways,
We got
it's a great
poetry.
It's an awesome place. If you come to Denver, you're hanging out in the Mile High City, definitely stop by Broadway and Ellsworth and check out Mutiny.
I would live there if I was
Yeah,
there.
if you're not coming there, then check out mutinyinfocafe.com.
Welcome, everybody. Our comic book club of August 2018 features a book that's on the lips of everybody in the comic book world right now. The Magic Order #1, part of the Malar World output that Netflix is in on. I think Image is the main company putting it out, but it's Malar's imprint. And Oliver Coipel does the art for it.
You see the cover to number 3?
Yes.
It's a little crazy.
Dude, look, I can't tell you. I gotta say, like, outside of the big company stuff and Saga, this is probably my favorite book on the market. I was kind of pissed to learn that it's a limited series. It's 6 books.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's 6 books?
Yes. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't realize that.
Everybody's unhappy about that because, dude, I mean, he's packed the heat. I was immediately in love with this book, #1, and then it has not let up. The next 2 issues are just as on fire as this. In my opinion. I mean, it's like this is gonna sound terrible, but taking a Harry Potter theme, but like making it fucking gangster as hell. You know, like
Brutal.
just brutal. Yeah.
Little girl, when they take control of the little girl, and fucking kills her own parents, and sticking the knife up through the bottom of their throat.
So I don't know if we said this is a full spoiler.
This is full spoilers,
Yeah.
by the way.
Throw that out
Full
there.
spoilers. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
The fact that what's his name? It revolves around a family, right? Moonstone, the Moonstone family, and they have the one son that's like sort of the chosen one that turned his back on magic because he lost his daughter, right?
Right.
I love that. I love that idea, and I gotta say also, the art is phenomenal.
So
Like some of the best art out there right now, I think.
that's what I'll be a little bit of the naysayer.
That's always.
I haven't read 2 or 3. The story didn't blow me away, but the art absolutely did. The art,
Yeah.
I agree, is really incredible. I think just a joy to turn every page and see what's on the next one.
Yeah.
You know, can't talk enough about it for sure.
I know. I mean, he's really one of the best, I think. And I've never heard of this guy before this book.
Yeah. I just love I really liked the original Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
that Millar
that's
book.
Millar. Yeah.
Yeah, and the original Hit Girl, they're both really good, and apparently the new ones aren't quite as good, but it was just nice reading this book, just Millar's style of writing, and just I really like it, and it seems like he's in his prime on this book. It seems like he got it, and I just really like, the brutality and vulgarity, but in like a situation that you wouldn't expect it to be happening from, like the magic show,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I loved it.
I like the idea of it. You have the what you see as like illusion magic, something to entertain people, but underneath that, all these dudes are badass, like wizards, mages, and stuff, and it just gets so frenetic. But I don't want to go into the next 2 issues, but it just goes up from there.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets crazy by issue 3. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just the end, the changing spell, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was like, we're caught in a changing spell, and then they couldn't stop it.
Right.
And then they just changed into completely different, that's a really cool type of magic, I thought, for sure.
I was a little confused, I guess, initially when this press article was released. I thought that there was going to be a show because Netflix was involved. I thought Magic Order was going to double as a comic book and a live action. Yeah, but apparently, what I'm guessing is that it's just like Netflix is behind the comic book as the imprint. I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
They're just
I don't know how that works.
I think
they just own a stake in Millar World, and they're letting them make all these books. Probably just paying for them to make all these books and stuff, and then when they see the one they want, they'll
they have this library to pick from.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the sales on this have been crazy.
I don't know.
Apparently.
Yeah.
On Magic Order, they've had multiple sellouts, and reprintings. So,
I do like what you said. It is cool when you think of, obviously it's going to draw comparisons to Harry Potter, and if you think of Harry Potter, like all the wizards there are very much hiding from everyday life, right? And so it's cool, like you say in this one, that they're out there as illusionists, right? It's almost like what the angel become in Preacher season 2. You know what I mean?
Spoilers.
Like
they're doing tricks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No, totally.
In front of crowds, but they have real power behind them.
Absolutely. Like if David Copperfield was really a mage, when he made the Statue of Liberty disappear, it actually fucking disappeared.
Yeah.
But I would say, Nate, try issue 2.
Yeah.
If you still don't like it, it's a limited series anyway, so you don't really have to go any further. But
I'd read them all just for the art, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's so
that kind
gorgeous.
of I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe it's the Harry Potter effect to me that it just seems a little that those type of magicians just don't grab me. You know what I mean? But the story in general might if I keep going with it. So
dude,
we'll
I think if it...
I didn't even think Harry Potter, but I love Harry Potter. Maybe that's why I like the books.
Right.
Well, the thing is, if it had only been... if stylistically it was like Harry Potter, I wouldn't have liked it. I don't want to repeat that, but it was so brutal. It's such a just physically demanding, crushing book that that's what got me. It's like it's some heavy stuff to deal with, and
Harry Potter's wand right here.
Nice.
Oh, it's pretty dope.
Specto Patronum.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
cool.
I think next month, like Jeff said, we're going to be covering Sandman Universe. Number one. Yeah. Yep. The Return of Neil Gaiman.
I really like the Comic Book Club. I think, honestly, we get a few views every month on this, but I think it's the sort of thing that if people start to latch onto it, like my experience, I don't have time to to go through all the books and keep tabs on what's new and what's happening and everything. So it's awesome to get these like kind of little peeks into all the different things that are going on. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't know if he'll make this into a full-blown series. He might just jump onto something else, but I wish he would.
Right.
He's not. But
Yep.
cool.
All right.
That's been our comic book club,
CBBC.
August 2018. See y'all next month for Sandman Universe.
Word.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching or listening to this week's show. It's been Comically Gaming, episode 116. We love y'all. Please consider supporting us over at patreon.com/GCandC. As little as $1 a month, you can help us improve all the stuff that we do. We keep up a little blog on there as well that we throw some stuff on every now and then.
Yeah. Find us on Twitter at GCandC. And join our Discord or Facebook groups. Search for Comically Gaming or Games, Comics, and Culture.
You can also grab a t-shirt or a sticker at teespring.com. And if you have any ideas about something you'd like to see, hit us up. I'll get you something for you.
Yeah, we always want to thank Stallionet. No, we want to thank Fred Thomas for his opening music and Xee Reiter for our logo. Don't forget, next month's CBBC will feature the Sandman Universe #1. Read up on it. Neil Gaiman comes back.
Boom.
For this genre, and you can join the conversation. Don't be like me and not go to the comic book store because of the fair. And as always, we want to thank everyone for joining us because it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Love you.
See y'all
Have
around.
a good September.
Yeah.